Hello and welcome to Inside Masters Minds, where we dive deep into epic humans, where we find out what got them to where they are today. Today we have a very special guest, Maria. Hello, Maria. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Matt.
And so
Yeah.
your story is really cool. So I got reading your story, and I don't want to say it for you because I only know a little bit of it. Do you mind just expressing kind of your journey from where you were starting off as an entrepreneur? I thought that this was really fascinating. You said that you started off as an entrepreneur and your ambitious mind outworked your body. I think that this is totally relatable to a lot of people in the high achiever, high performer world. So do you just want to lay a little foundation for anyone that's kind of seeing you for the first time?
Yeah. So I would say actually the ambitious journey started when me and my husband, we share the same vision. And since we got such a beautiful farm, what is already running by the seventh generation, we wanted to create a place where people could just come and get inspired by nature. And we understood that the only way to do it is that we have to put our souls in it, and we have to work 24 hours per 7. And that's how we can be able to create such a place. And we started with tourism thing. So it's basically a small farmhouse, and we were hosting up to 10-12 guests on a daily basis. So they could come for 2 or 3 days just to relax and go on kayaking, go on hikes. So they could get the food straight from the farm. And the thing was that we were not experienced, and like me, I was doing everything what was connected with the tourism. It was cleaning, hosting them, making food for them. My husband, on the other hand, he was working on the farm. He was waking up very early, and he was harvesting fruits, sorting them. He was delivering them to so-called delivering company. And it ended in that way that we start waking up at 4 a.m. and going to the bed at 11. And it might also happen that the guests arrive late. So we could even expect guests at midnight. So by doing that on a daily basis, your immune system is a little bit stressed down. It's a little bit stressed. And we didn't have a proper food by ourselves. So basically, we just been giving all ourselves to the business without taking care of ourselves first. And I did it just, should I say, for 5 months. And after that, I started feeling the symptoms of that something is wrong with my body. But I didn't pay attention on it because I knew where is my goal, where is my vision. And I was just like, full set go. But actually, it didn't last long before my body was saying hello, like ringing a bell. And then it was a time when I went for checkups with a doctor, and it happened to be that the limbs in my body, they've been swollen, and it wasn't just in one area what you usually get when you get some kind of easy infection or sore throat. It was all over the body. So I had to go to so-called computer scanning, where they found out that those limbs, they are abnormal size. And after some time, I had to do a surgery just to make sure it is a sickness. And then after 2 months of a procedure, they found out that it was a 3rd stage lymphoma cancer. And me at the time, I was only 21, and I didn't know what cancer mean. I didn't know what the fuck lymphoma is, and how long I'm gonna die, like how long I'm gonna live. Because the only thing what I remember, it was a movie. When people have a cancer, they just getting bald, they're getting some chemo in their body, some liquids. After some time, they're gonna die. That's it. And so I had to research everything on my own, like about the sickness, about how to get over it. I wanted to know what is the reason why I am the person who got it. I wanted to know how I can live with it, and I wanted to create so-called bucket list before I die. So it was like couple of things. Okay, Maria, I'm like, you are not gonna die before you do this, this, or that. And yeah, so basically, I would say that it took me some time to accept, or maybe I can say that I still haven't accepted that I am that I am sick, because even after the chemotherapy, cancer is still in me. So I have to learn how to live with it. Even I think that I do all of my best, and I meditate, and I do affirmations, and I eat only healthy food, and I do yoga and exercises. And I hoped that it will just pass over, but that's not how does it work. Yeah, so basically it's a total shift in a lifestyle, as I can say so. Yeah. And
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible. I think this is only something you can really understand, and if you experience it, the level that you've been experiencing it. It's
yeah,
wow.
like sometimes I remind myself, this is the funny thing, because before I got the cancer, and it was so I got diagnosed in somewhere in June. But every year, as a New Year resolutions, I write to myself, what do I want to achieve? The funny part of it is that I achieved everything I asked for.
Oh wow.
And you should be careful what you ask for, because I remember like this is the funny part, because I asked, I want to feel more confident, I want to feel stronger, and it was like I want to take care of myself, I want to rest, to rest after this business what we run, and it was any other things. So after my first chemotherapy on my birthday, when I had a plan to go to the spa and relax, and I couldn't receive any kind of massage because of the cancer, everybody just declined me. So I had to shave my head, and I was not so attached to my hair, even I had such a beautiful long one. And after I shaved and I saw this ball, it was like something new to me. And I was not embarrassed to go outside with that.
Oh
And
wow.
I remember one time I almost started crying, because it was a group of kids, age maybe 6 to 11. I passed them one time, and they just turned on me. It was like maybe up to 15 kids. And I lived at the time in a small city, and to see a bald person, it was like, oh, like, is she alien or what? They turn on me, they say, good morning, miss, good morning. And everybody had to say it, and I just smiled back. After some time, I see, because I just went to the shop, I saw them again, and they saw me again, and they've been like, good morning, like, good day, miss, good day. So next day I see them, I just start smiling, and I went pass by them, and it was one guy, maybe around 10, who just ran after me. He said, good day, you look so beautiful today, And then I almost started crying, because like I didn't expect it, it was so many adult people who look at me like, is she crazy? Did she shave herself because she wants just to show off, or what? Because I was not usual cancer patient. I was just I was receiving my chemo and running out of the hospital, actually. So I could feel a little bit free. And when you see this kind of signs from the world universe, I don't know what you can say, it makes you feel confident, or it makes me feel that I own this life. And I knew, okay, it feels so fucking good. I want to continue it for a couple of more years, let's say 70. Yeah, and it was also nice experience through that journey, even painful a little bit.
Wow. Yeah, the universe works in mysterious ways and teaches us lessons in mysterious ways. If you feel like sharing at any moment, if I ask you a question and you don't feel like answering it, don't feel obligated. You can just say, I don't want to talk about it. But I'm kind of curious because what year did this happen when you got diagnosed?
Well, it was in 2020, so it was just 1 year ago.
Okay, so there's this is a recent thing. So do you mind walking me through initially when you received that information about that's in your body? I can imagine there's quite a bit of fear that comes in when you hear that.
Not only fear, frustration, anger, anxiety, stress, what should I say? Yeah, all kind of things.
And so what do you do to get over that? Or what did you do? Like, what was your processing? How did you process this?
I could lie and I could say that I just meditate and it pass by. But if I'm honest, I can say that peanut butter and chocolate helps the most. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's very hard to be aware of. This is like I know myself a little bit more after that. This is the hardest thing, to be aware about our own emotions and not to eat it up. Go out and shop whatever you feel for. Start watching TV. It doesn't help at all. And even if I go and I reach for peanut butter and chocolate and I eat it up at once, I feel good for a moment, but then the emotion is still present. So usually when I know that, okay, it sits here for such time and it starts being annoying, I accept this feeling and I look up on it. I write about it and I go into the details and I dig. My husband, he works with traumas, like it's education, and it teaches you about how to be aware of your own traumas, even from childhood. And once you are aware of your own behavior and you know the roots of it, and you have it like your own mirror, it's a little bit, it helps, because okay, Maria, I'm not like this, or I don't want to have this as the same pattern anymore. So once you are over that emotion of anxiety or fear, or you know where it's coming from, this is like just the most important, then it's much easier to live day by day, I would say. It's not that you deal with it and then it disappear. It still can come, and and you will reach for peanut butter and chocolate also later in the life, but at least you know yourself, or you know the reasons why you do this.
Yeah, so you're not completely unconscious to what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I find this really fascinating because you're taking an active role in your life now. Where did this event cause you to seek for different solutions, or were you in this place within yourself, like affirmations, meditating, health, before you received the news?
I did it a little bit before, I don't know if I can call it shell work. You do it because you see that it's getting popular, and you do it because you think that it's right. But once, yeah, I'm about to say shit hits the fan.
Sure.
It gets a little bit deeper, on a deeper level. You start, or I start feeling myself when I was doing it. I had, it was 20, I decided to take a program. It was 21 days of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And during my chemotherapy, I had it just before I was having this liquid in my body. So I was doing this daily set, 5-10 minutes walk around the park, and then straight to the hospital. And then after the hospital, another meditation, another music, affirmation. I used a lot of actually Louisa Hay. I don't know if you heard about her.
No.
She helped me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to accept my body. I had to feel my body, and I had to love my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say to myself that I am a beautiful soul, I am a beautiful being, and I love every cell of my body. And in my meditations, I had, not that I had, but I decided to talk to these cancer cells and ask, what is that they want from me? Like, what is that I can do so it feels better? Because I wanted to work in the same team with my body.
That's so amazing. Wow, I've never heard that before. That's
it was,
pretty special.
actually, you remind me about one painful moment. It was when I was just about to get my chemotherapy, and it was one doctor who reached me, and he said, probably you want to talk to my wife because she is a gynecologist. She's a gynecologist. And the information she had to hand me in, it was, you know what, after you receive a chemotherapy, like 90, probably 99 or a little bit less %, you will not be able to have kids because chemotherapy will just kill everything what you have inside, even the healthy cells. And I was like, okay, thank you for such information. It is exactly on the right time. Like, couldn't you say it from the beginning? And she said, but actually you can save it by freezing it down, but you have to go on like that I should have taken some hormonal therapy for 2 months before I do it. And I had a choice. I had to choose either I want to take a chemotherapy and save my body because I was afraid actually to die, or I was afraid, I don't know. Yeah, so, or I had a choice to wait those 2 months, take this hormonal therapy and freeze my, I don't know what kind of cells it is. And maybe later in the life it can be possible for me to have kids. I was crying so hard about it because having family, it was it was one of my like biggest goal in the life. And I said, all right, but myself first, and then I see what happens. And it doesn't matter for me what child I will love. Either it will be mine or it will be adopted, because everything what child needs, it's a parent's love. But about meditations, it was me sitting down and imagining myself having a family, serving breakfast to them, packing a lunch bag, school lunch bags to them, and it felt so good. So actually, I don't know what happened, but we've seen a couple of years if it helped or not. Yeah, and it's interesting how mind can help you if you play it on the same team.
Well, you know what? Part of
Mm,
my learning and my teaching and understanding is the power of thought and the power of
mhm,
your intuition. And I can feel talking to you and you expressing you are a very powerful woman. And I feel that with your determination and your depth of feeling, I strongly believe you can definitely do that with how deep you feel, which I think is part of your superpower. I don't want to speak on behalf of your superpowers, but
mhm.
through observation, I can feel you're a very strong woman. So I believe in you. And you know what? It only takes
Thanks.
one.
I should have recorded that too, and every time just to put it on.
Yeah,
It will help, I
exactly.
believe.
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I mean, look, like our minds are powerful, really powerful. And I like how you were saying that, like, get it on the same team. Like, just, and even your talking to your cancer cells, you know, like, because
Mm,
if you look at all of us at a vibrational level, like, if you were to take a microscope in our body and zoom into the cells and you zoom in
mhm,
even further, at the lowest or the smallest level that we can see, we're just moving particles. So we're
mm,
all energy vibrating at different frequencies within our body. So you sending thought frequency with intention to your cells is powerful. Is so powerful. If you were to talk to a quantum physicist, they would be like,
mhm,
"Yes, you're doing a great job." And these are the guys at the top level of this stuff. You know, this is what I've been learning
mhm.
myself on the journey. And here I am, you know, trying to manifest things that are, I guess, more, let's say, a little bit more material. But like what you're manifesting and what you're creating in your life and your healthy body is so like I've got so much admiration for you, and I'm just happy that you're able to harness that for a better life.
Mhm.
So I want to
Thanks.
congratulate you on that and being able to, yeah, I'm sure it's a practice, right? Like that's what it comes down to. I'm sure you're practicing daily, but like that to meditate in that space is really powerful. So it's inspiring. Now I'm wondering like, yeah, within this, this is, I'm reading a book right now and it's called The Art of Living and Dying,
Mhm,
and it's by Osho.
mm,
Have you ever heard of
mhm.
Osho before?
For sure, I have a whole library of him.
Okay. How
Yeah.
are you aware of this work from him?
Actually, specifically about that book, and I'm not so sure. Maybe if I read it, it was a couple of years ago, but I don't remember.
Okay. Do you look into this side of his work?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to get a couple green lights before I keep going deeper because this isn't a topic you normally speak to a lot of people because they have a lot of I guess potential challenges with thinking. But like for me, I'm a very
Mhm,
I like to go to the heart of the matter. I think
mhm,
that that's where we can do our best work. And so I actually have to read this book on weekends. I can't read it during the week. The reason it
mhm.
is I can't contemplate at this depth and then get back to work. It hits me that
Yeah,
hard.
I understand.
So
Yeah.
when you've been in this, what's your relationship night like now with life? And how has your relationship with life changed since you've entered this new journey?
I, if I can say so, that I became more aware of the life, and I started appreciating myself as a living being. Like, uh, should I say, regarding the book, you said a word about Osho. I had one what is still sits in my mind. It calls Quantum Warrior,
Mm-hmm.
and it's written by John Cahill.
Okay.
And after I read it, it gave me so many signs from the universe, and
Wow.
it made me also dive deeper into myself on the level of the souls. And
Sorry, can you
Any
just say
other
that
work?
book again?
Uh-huh.
Quantum, what is it?
Quantum Barrier. It's by John
Barrier.
Cahill.
Okay.
Yeah. And also the same, if you look in the same theme, the man would also help me through it, called Conversation with God.
Oh yes, that's a very great book.
Yeah.
There's a series,
Yeah.
right, or something like this?
Yeah.
For the listeners that aren't aware of that book, do you want to maybe just speak about it a little bit and how it impacted you and how it helped you?
I guess I read too many books about the same theme, so I'm very afraid to mix, like, you as a placebo, Conversation with
Sure.
God, Quantum Barrier, all of them, they speak about the main thing that.
Well, do you want to give the topic of the main
Uh-huh.
thing and don't quote a book? Just give what you've learned from it.
Too many things. First, love yourself, appreciate yourself, accept yourself, and I guess actually that's all, to be honest, to be able to live happy and fulfillment life. But like not on the shell way, but like really accept all of your minuses, accept all of your fears, accept all of your words, thoughts, accept mistakes you did, accept the way of a negative talks we could have to ourselves. What I mean by loving ourselves, it doesn't come with going outside and buying a beautiful dress or jewelry. It's not about material things at all. It's about loving that small child what didn't have, for example, enough attention or care from the parents, and loving ourselves for even if we are not fitting in the so-called perfect society, loving ourselves for just that we are beautiful souls. And yeah, it just mainly says that things.
What's your process to loving yourself? So let's say I'm a younger version of myself, or I'm a younger version of you, and you had a chance to talk to that younger version of yourself. Let's say the 14-year-old, 12-year-old version of yourself, and they say, okay, you say love yourself, like I love my mom, I love my dad, or I love my brother or my sister, but how do I love myself? Well, how would you explain it to them?
Um, I would say it comes in that way, actually, of like when you need to talk to someone as a child, usually you would go to your parents, to your mom or to your dad, and you will express your needs, and you will express, but like, what are you missing? But when your parents are occupied, when they are all of the time at work, and you have nobody, luckily maybe you could have siblings, but if you have a nobody, you would just sit and feel alone. And this is the killing feelings, because I read a study that they say when you feel alone, or when you feel ignored, your brain feels the same pain if it would be physical. So and they compare it actually to the same harm if you would smoke 15 cigarettes per day. So it's interesting how just by having this negative feeling of being by yourself compared to the physical harm to your body. But the question how you can love yourself as a child in a very way, it's probably to talk to yourself, to talk in a playful way, that what I didn't do, of course, but if I would have a chance, I would say, I would hug myself and I would say, everything is all right. And you're gonna go through that, through everything, through every challenge you're gonna face in your life. And it's probably just the feeling of being present with oneself. When you know that you have yourself to rely on, and you know that you can get this appreciation from yourself. Yeah, something like this.
That's so beautiful. I often like to ask at a child's level, because that makes it a broader way to understand. Sometimes we get into these complex things, and ironically, self-love isn't really taught to us as a child or in school. So it is almost a new learned thing. I'm sure it's taught now to some children, but not to all children, what exactly self-love is and how to do it. And we're all experiencing self similarly, but then we all experience self differently. So then what route we choose to love ourselves can be different as well. So I'm always curious to know how people show affection to yourself. Do you want to know one that I did while I was going through a tough time?
For sure.
I drew my hand. I was thinking about this the other day. I haven't thought about it in a while. So I've got on a piece of paper and I drew the outline of my hand, right? And I went like this. And there's a power, there's an energy transfer in a high five, right? Think about this. Like a high five is universal, right? Like it's a universal thing, like a good job, right? But what happens when you're alone and you got no one to high five? So what I did was I wrote on the sign, it says, you're doing great, keep it up. And every time I'd leave my room, I'd hit it. I'd high five myself because it was in so much pain that I needed to high five myself, and I had to remind myself to high five myself. And the interesting thing was, Maria, when I started doing it, I felt the energy of a high five, because you can't replicate a high five, but it was just a reminder. You like, you know what? I know it's tough, and I know I'm the only one fully in what I'm in at this moment, and I got to make sure to cheer myself on. If I don't know how I'm going to get through this. So that was like a little thing I did to just keep myself going. Just like, I just do it every time. It's like it was a practice, and I felt the energy. It was like,
I hope you don't mind if I steal the strategy.
I hope you steal it and give it away to 1,000 people if you want to.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's just like these little reminders, these little things that we can do for ourselves. As you know, someone that has already clearly at a young age experienced a lot for a human being. So with that experiences come great wisdom, which I can feel that obviously it's also led you to understanding work from, I guess, are you inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza then? Have you looked into his work?
Sure. Yes.
So how did reading The Placebo Effect help you change your mindset around what you were experiencing?
I remember feeling after I finished that book, I was so certain I'm gonna do it, like cancer, this is like, okay. And then I had the music in my headphones, and every morning I was walking outside and I was just like feeling this energy flowing through me. And I don't know what had happened after reading that book, but my mind shifted in that way that I knew everything is going to be possible for me. And I had a challenge to myself. If I'm going to face a cancer, and if I'm going to deal, and if I'm going to just survive through that, because I was on edge of having just chemotherapy and getting this, how they call this, cells
oh, yes.
transported.
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, I was so certain that it's just gonna disappear like this, because this is like, and when I had the chemotherapy, the fun part of it, not fun, but a little bit sarcastic, I would say, the red chemotherapy, it's the strongest chemotherapy what you can get. When I was lying and I was looking at it, for me to not get nauseated of it, I was imagining that I was drinking a red wine. And it helped me through in one way. But now when I look at it, I just feel that, it's enough of red wine for me. And Joe Dispenza Yeah, for sure. I listen a lot of YouTube video and how he speaks about the neurons also. If you heard
Mm-hmm.
about neurotransmitters, I had to study it too to be able to do some kind of neuroplasticity work, if I can say
Uh-huh.
so. Just,
Uh-huh.
yeah, to be able to plant a new positive seeds in my mind. So I hoped that, okay, now I have a new connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more new positive connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was doing any kind of things what brought me pleasure. I thought, okay, fuck it. If I'm gonna die, at least I'm gonna die happy. I went
Mm-hmm.
to the theater. I went to the not opera singing, but philharmonic concert, and I was so hungry for the experiences the life had to
Mm.
present me. I was like this, not a rub, but like
Mm-hmm.
soaking it all,
Woo.
and it just make me, pump. And every time I was on on a camo, and I was going bold outside, I had so much confidence, the strength within me, and I just started loving my life after that. This is what is the sarcasmic thing about it, because cancer gave me an understanding of how beautiful and how fulfilling it might be, even in the most sucking moments of it, because you just open your eyes. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Whew. Amen. Wow. That is so powerful,
Mm.
Maria. Oh man, it's so fascinating. To just this is what I love about the work that I'm involved with. Um, is because you can take one experience and give it to 1,000 different people and they experience it
Mm.
completely differently. And with just a slight tweak can make all the differences. Now, I'm not saying your difference is just a slight tweak, but your experience, and you give it to someone else, and they potentially won't be on this planet right now. And I strongly believe it has really a lot to do with your mindset. That's why I love this work within the mind. And I think the work that Dr. Joe talks about within understanding the neurochemistry, the neuroplasticity, the anatomy of your brain, how your brain works, I think we should all be taught this in school too. We all have a
For
brain,
sure.
but we
Yeah.
have no idea how to use it. And
Yeah.
then for a lot of people, it's working against them,
Mm.
and it is not it's not really a nice place to be in. And it's incredible if we had this foundation of like, look, like, here's how you love yourself, here's how your brain works, this is what a thought is, this is what, I mean, you think every single day of your life, like, shouldn't we be taught how to think? But with you, it sounds like you've searched and you've trained your brain to think in different neural pathways now. Would you say that that's something you've
Not
felt?
100%.
Sure.
Not, I'm still working on it. And of course, as a normal person being, I had also a down days.
Sure.
I
Sure.
my if you probably would talk to my husband, he would say that it's a totally different person you talk to, because my
Sure.
emotions goes like a roller coaster,
Sure.
and it's normal. And it's also like what I've also wanted to say is that I had to accept that nothing is wrong with me. I feel high, positive, and motivated. That's perfect. If I feel down and a little bit depressed, worried, and anxious, that's also normal. That's why emotion exists.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's nothing to be worried about. It will pass. The same as a happy moments, the same as this anxiety things. So. Yeah, so it's like nothing wrong with you, even if it's not perfect, not you are not feeling inspired or motivated, and you feel opposite. Just let it be. Let it be. Maybe you will find out a next $1 billion startup about how to help through this mental issues or whatever. There is always perfect time for everything. So that's yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
It's really special. It's something that I really this I used to be on the search for happiness, but for
Mm,
me, in myself, and on my journey, I realized that what I was seeking and what I think conventional self-help is seeking is an emotion. And happiness is
mm,
joy. You have anger. We have around 3,000 plus emotions. To seek one emotion and stay in that, I think you look at some of our conditions in our planet that have one temperature. So I like to look at our emotions like the weather. And so some days you're going
mm,
to have cloudy days, some days you're going to have sunny days, some days it's raining, depending where you are, it's snowing, but the weather changes. And then you look at some of the harsh places in our world where it's like the desert, Antarctica, and like if they stay in that one temperature, it gets pretty rough. So
mm,
like it's actually really nice to have all seasons, have all temperatures, and have all weather, so that it's really makes for great growing conditions. And so I like what you said, where you're like, let it be. And
mhm,
this is where I've come to realize that, like, oh wow, like for me, I'm learning to actually become the watcher or the observer, as opposed to seeking certain fleeting states, because that means, like what you said, like you have the ability to see the sadness come through, and sometimes you're still in it, but you have the sadness
mm,
come through, the depression or the anxiety, but then you're not like, you know that you have the ability that it will, like the weather will change, and that there is sun behind the clouds. And I think that this is something that really helped me on my journey to deepening my peace. And so I think I'd be curious to know what you think of this analogy. But do you feel like, since you've been started this, I guess, new journey from the gift of the universe, so to speak, um, before you were like on the surface of the ocean, and now this
mhm.
this journey has allowed you to be at the lower levels of yourself, where the current isn't so wavy. Is that something you've experienced now, since all your meditative work and you're where you are today?
Mm. You are totally wrong. It became even more baby,
Oh wow.
if I
Okay.
can say so. Yeah,
Yeah, of
for
course.
sure. Uh, I think it became more baby in the way because once I got to know myself, and in one way, when I know the theory of, okay, why do I feel that? Why do I feel such emotions? Or what pattern in my life I'm playing out, especially in the relationship. Uh, it happened to be that I started a little bit, that I became more analytical in my mind, and
Mm,
it happens automatically. And
mm-hmm,
this ability of analyzing like your step, like this, you can call it awareness, or you can call it just yeah, analyzing. uh, it it actually became a little bit harder to live with it, because when you are not aware, you don't care, you do
yeah,
the
you're just
things
operating.
what pleases you. Yeah. And now when I know, okay, I have this on my plate, this and that, and somehow I need to juggle it, and when one ball is lost, yeah, there are still some balls what needs to be juggled. And what I mean by that, it's it's never gonna be so calm, maybe just for a day or two, and for some certain period of your life. But I believe when you are ready, the universe will always challenge you. It will give
Mm,
you more and more challenges for you to, yeah, just to prove you that you are loved, you are strong enough, you are confident enough. Whatever you asked for, it will always present you this opportunities in your life. And I believe that being on the surface of the water and feeling balanced, it's maybe possible just to yogis or to some Buddhas, to be honest, not to normal human being. Because I believe that being on high and down, the way we live, it's the way we experience emotions, and the way we get to know ourselves deeper.
mm-hmm. Mhm. Yeah, thank you for that.
Mm.
Yeah, this is what I love about communication. And I think also this is where our challenge is in this day and age is with communication. Um, because when we speak, we can say one thing and we
Mm-hmm.
think we're saying it one way, and then it can be received and it received in a total different way. And you're in a relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way to feel that is
Boy,
communication.
I'm not so sure about best way, yeah, but
Well, I'm a mindset coach,
yeah,
so I frame it in a great way. But it's the best way to expose
yeah.
yourself is in a relationship. So,
If
um,
you're a little bit masochist
yeah.
in joke way, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, that's cool. So I appreciate you expressing honestly. It's
Mm.
always nice. Always appreciate people's experiences. So let's look forward now a little bit. What does Maria's
Mm-hmm.
life look like moving forward now? The future, the new chapters. Where are you headed?
Um, New chapters. I had a couple of ideas what I want to do with my life, and the funny part of it is that when I think of it, I feel that I am missing this confidence of doing them, and I'm a little bit afraid of taking the first step or afraid of accepting that it might change my lifestyle again. So for sure, I want to start a book, write a
Oh,
book
cool. I think you
about
should do that.
yeah, uh, it's probably gonna be about mindset, and the goal of it is to present that everything is okay with you,
Mm.
uh, and I actually have a huge dream of being an investor who helps startups to thrive. But I have to find out how I can do it on the right level, you know. And another thing, it's about this resort what we are building up with the husband. We'll see how it will unfold itself because we have a big vision for that too. Maybe some healthy, wealthy retreats, if I can say so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and well, I have still my bucket list, so I
What's
can,
left?
I can just. There are many things. I'm so hungry for this life experience. You know, well, I love myself. Just like on the primal thing, I can say that after the chemotherapy, I start cooking for myself 3 times per day, every time different food, because just the feeling of having a different taste, it pleases me, you
Oh, that's
know.
cool.
Music, I wanted to visit as many orchestra concert as possible. It just gives me the same pleasure for my, yeah, I can get my nips getting stiffed from it. But there are many other countries that I didn't visit yet. There are so many interesting people I would like to meet and talk to them and also just have a conversation on a deeper level. So, yeah, I hope 70 years will be enough for me to do all of this.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
love that you're thirsty to get into the experience of
Yeah.
life. Since I've turned my life around as well, I got a new thirst for life as
Mm-hmm.
well, and it's exciting. And it's always good to connect back to that. I think sometimes, at
Mm-hmm.
least in my experience, sometimes life can get um, at least I've experienced even in this last year, I remind myself constantly not to take it too seriously. When was the last time I enjoyed myself? You know, how much am I enjoying? And my enjoyments change over time as I'm maturing. I'm enjoying things differently. And you know what's interesting? As I'm maturing, I'm enjoying a lot more of the simple things, like really simple things,
Yeah.
you know? And that's been really nice. It's been really enjoyable. So Maria, let's say someone's listening to this and they hear your story and they go, wow, my daughter just got diagnosed, or my auntie just got diagnosed, or my uncle and my brother, vice versa. And they're hearing your story and they're going, wow, like that's just incredible, but that's her. What about me? So what advice would you give this person now, knowing what you've experienced, been where you are and experiencing what you've experienced? What advice would you give them when they first hear this, and what advice would you give them to get through it?
Be themselves, and it will unfold itself in the best way. They will feel sad, they will feel depressed. I also felt it. They will feel crazy in their head, and it also was for me like that. And I believe that we have already, what should I say, like in every of us, we have our own journey. So if I had to experience to be kicked out of the country of my husband and had all of this chemotherapy treatments in the hospital where it's still like a Soviet Union, what should I say? Yeah, like rooms and all other things. I had to experience meeting not good doctors. I had many challenges through that journey, and it's I wanted to die also in the middle of the treatments, but my mom said, if you die, I'm gonna just kill you. So it's just gonna be fine, to be honest. It doesn't matter. It's like, the question you asked me, it reminds me about a friend I had also at the same time, and he got cancer like metastasis spread all over the body, and he was doing his best. He flew to Italy for the treatments. He had the most expensive ones. He had 2 kids, small kids, age 2.5 years. He had a beautiful wife, and he had a beautiful life. I don't know what was in his mindset, but he just gave up. When he came to the doctor.
Could you
what
feel
did you
him?
say?
When you were talking to him, could you feel the moment he gave up?
No, actually, because at that moment I saw that he had everything under control, that he has the best treatments in the world. He had an insurance covered it all, and I thought that everything gonna be smooth, And I can also say, like, I can be honest, and I can say that I also felt jealous about it, because he got it all covered, and it was in a private good clinic, and I had to stay in a small town, and I had to fix medicine myself, and I got a couple of times not a legal one, what was not proper medicine, and the doctors didn't treat me good, and I was like, fuck, what I'm doing here, like, why do I need to go through this shit? Like, I don't, like, better I just live 6 months and I die happy. I don't want to do this shit anymore. So it was opposite, but actually I got surprised when I heard that when he came to the doctor, they said that only 4 weeks or couple, like max 2 years left for him, but he's gonna be like not a normal person being anymore. And after he heard it, I think he just gave up. He prepared whole family for that. He bought the place where he knew he wants to be buried. He wrote every contract that needs to be in order for his wife to receive the house and everything else. So I'm not so sure actually if I can give any advice about mind, about like how to be in the situation. That's why I said just be yourself, because whatever needs to happen, it will happen anyway.
Do you feel like
So yeah.
you did that though? Like what happened? Because I feel like you kind of took charge. You kind of like you received the information, and by your story, it sounds like you're like, I'm gonna get through this.
Uh, one time, um, because uh, it's not normal for the doctor to give all of the results and all of the information to the patient, but uh, I had to bribe them to be able to see what they have, and then I took photos of it.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I was all of the time on the research. What does it mean that I have so much hemoglobin? What my leukocyte analysis mean? Like, okay, like I wanted to help myself. And one time, and I got a very shit results, and I ran out of the hospital, and I was going home, and I remember on the stairs, I said, I had to talk to the God. And I said, you know what, God? You know what? Like, fuck it. If you want just to fuck around with me, this is not the way you treat me. Like, you're gonna be jealous of the life I'm gonna have here on the earth. Like, you don't have any right to fuck around with me. Like, I'm not the person. If you want to do it to somebody else. And I was like so certain. You know what happened on next day? Next day, I'm lying in the bed, like totally dead. Like, oh, I want to die. I don't want to live anymore. Just, yeah. So it was like very, very swing moods, because, yeah, it's just, I can't say you have to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
I don't wish it. I don't wish it to anybody. No, no, no. This is not where you experience the life. But one day I felt, not one day, it was after the third chemo, I felt very shit, like really shit. I thought that I'm gonna die. And I was alone. At that time, my mom was at work, and I was just alone lying in the bed, and I was crying all over it. And I said, you know what? What is the worst thing that can happen? I'm just gonna disappear from the earth, like as a physical human being. But I believe in reincarnation, and I knew at the time that everything what I did, it helped me to build up a beautiful soul I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to talk to the God again. And I said, you know what? Sorry for such a thing what I said yesterday. And I said, I believe you. If there are anywhere a soul what needs to be reincarnated from my, just take it, because it's going to happen anyway. So if this is the right time for me to pass my physical body, then I'm ready to accept it. And it was the day when I actually accepted that it can end. But yeah, as you see, I probably have some other missions on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think
So
part of that will be put into a book, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's really interesting. So if you don't mind me asking, it's a conversation I don't get to talk to too many people about, but it's something that I got to be very present with. My Nana passed away just almost 2 years ago from cancer. But when she was diagnosed, she lived for 5 more years. When she was diagnosed, I was really, I went into a thing called a sensory deprivation tank. It's basically like a tank to meditate in. And my mission was to go find what happens after death. And I went into the tank searching and searching and searching, which led me to a lot of like deep places inside myself. I never found the answer. But something that I'm curious about now, and it's interesting, right? Especially in the Western way of thinking, we don't really talk about death too much. And if we do talk about it, it's like this thing that a lot of humans are afraid of. But I'm sure through your research and from the way you're talking, like, what's your relationship like with death now, since all of this has happened, and through your readings of like Osha and your conversations with God?
Interesting question.
I know it's a deep one.
I didn't expect that one.
I know. I wanted to ask it, so I'm just gonna follow my intuition.
Well, I don't remember who said it, that actually the day is a death, or it's like, I don't know how to put it, because it reminds me about another story. How during my chemotherapy, my grandmother also died, but she died because she overworked herself. She got a heart stroke, and she rested only 2 or 3 days, and then she was back on her feet again, and she worked even more. And
wow.
then she got a brain injury because she was fixing some curtains and she just fall, and then she was not actually physically able to move anymore. But her brain was so it was she remember everything. She remember how what bills she needs to pay, and she continued to work with her brain. But somehow, I don't know what happened again on a biological level. She got a stroke again, and after that, like, just by observing how she's actually killing herself, and the way she died, it always reminds me about how much I should appreciate myself, as if, like, my physical body, and that I should not abuse myself. And death will happen anyway, so this is the only, like, our responsibility, if I can say so, is just the path to the death. How you enjoy your life. And as I said before, just because I believe in reincarnation, I decided that I will take care of the soul, so next one can receive such a beautiful, strong, and I don't know what you can say else, but I just will care for myself. So we'll see how it unfold itself. And I don't know how many years I have to live.
I don't
5,
either.
70.
I don't either. None of us do. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
It just gets put in your face when you get a situation that happens like you. But I think for a lot of people, we're living as if it's never going to happen. And we're living in an age almost where it's like it's a luxury in a way to be depressed, because if back in survival times, they say that like over, I don't know how many years ago, but we're living better than the best king in the entire world. Just the average human is living better than the best king a couple of years ago, or a couple 100 years ago, with the technology and stuff we're experiencing. But with that being said, we only know our own reality, really. Like, and so you can say that this is great and that, but like, you have to feel it within yourself. And so something my work has led me to is the relationship with the contrast between day and night, or like, if we think about it, it's so interesting, right? We as a conventional society, we all have a life, but life doesn't exist without death. There's no life without death. And so we just choose to focus on the life, and then we fear the death. But it's like, we keep living as if the sun's going to come up tomorrow, or as if the night's going to come, because it just happens in cycles. But does day exist without night?
I sometimes ask myself, what actually is life we live? It is all about this matrix thing, and we will live only after we die. You can
Yes.
have many crazy beliefs about that one.
Yes.
So I just like, yeah, up to you what to do.
And
So yeah.
and it's so fascinating, right? Like Tony Robbins says, like, you may die in 6 days, 6 months, 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
or 60 years. But like he says that everyone should know at the beginning of their life they're dying. Like as soon as you're getting like,
Mm.
and the thing what's crazy with our life is it's not guaranteed. Like it's not guaranteed to 70 years, you know, anything can happen at
Mm.
any moment, which is why I love what you're doing with your time now. Is just trying to really get to, I love that you're
Mm-hmm.
just like tasting as many different foods, you're listening, you're just
Mm-hmm.
experiencing as much as you can experience. And I that's really awesome. I hope that someone that is listening, this conversation was for you, and you'll know who it is. I don't know who it is, but they'll be listening and they'll like kind of wake up call, you know, fresh water on the face, like, whoa, I need to like start tasting things. I'm going to do that tonight now that you talked about. I'm going to taste my food even better. Sometimes
Mm.
I do that. Saturdays are my day where I really try to taste my food. I don't know why. That
Only Saturday.
it's the day that I can
You
take.
should do it every time, yeah.
I know I should, but for some reason Saturday's my day away from all technology, and
Mm.
it's my day to just be. And so I feel that I'm the most present on that day. Um,
Mm.
sometimes I actually, that can be a practice. That is one thing, a man and his food. That's a practice in itself. Trying to not eat so fast and be
And yeah,
hungry.
and try to chew, yeah, more
Chew
than
your
10
food and
times.
be in it. Don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm constantly practicing that one. That's a practice for me. But yeah,
That's good.
so we're coming towards the end of our conversation. What I like to do before I end is I call this thing a speed round, and I just ask my guests a series of questions, and so that for the listeners they get to hear a bunch of different people's
Mhm.
recommendations and that type of stuff. But before we
Mhm.
get into that, Maria, is there anything else on your heart that you'd like to share today that you haven't been able to share yet?
Uh, no, it's just about the death. It like I just had something to add that I remember it's also very clearly that moment when I got to know what cancer mean and that I could die from it. But I knew that it was two lymphoma things. It was non-Hodgkin lymphoma and it was Hodgkin lymphoma.
Huh.
And when I didn't know the difference, when you have a non-Hodgkin, they just tell you how much time you have left, you know, simply as it is. And I had this Hodgkin, and I was like, Jesus, I was so, you know, I felt so grateful actually for this. I felt that it was second chance for me to prove that I am worthy to be on this life alive, on this planet alive. And the acceptance of the death, we, as you said, we should be aware of that every day. It's not only when once get diagnosed with with a disease and then I start creating the bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
You should have it once you feel once you know what does it mean, once you are aware of it, because you will never experience such a beautiful moments in your life afterwards, if I can say so. So awareness of actually the death, it can make you also feel grateful, I can say, for sure, and hungry for experience. This is another thing, but I believe in gratefulness, what comes with it the most.
It's exactly what I'm
Mm.
experiencing. I really like
Yeah.
when I'm reading this book right now, I'm really contemplating this part of my life, and I'm so grateful that I get to experience and learn this information at this stage of my life. And it's just like it's right in my front door, you know, it's right in my face, which I want it to be,
Yeah.
because then it's making me, and I'm becoming more peaceful now because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm experiencing a deeper sense of peace within myself, because now it's like, you know what? I looked, they redo flowers in my house. And maybe I'll express to you what I've learned. I haven't really got to
Yes,
share this
please.
with too many people because I don't get to have these conversations with too many people.
Mm,
But since you've been in these waters, I know that you've had no choice but to be in there in a way.
mhm.
Um, but so I have these orchids. Do you know what orchids are?
No, was
Okay,
it?
they're like a white flower. My
Mm-hmm.
my nana was a gardener, and
Mm-hmm.
so flowers and plants and stuff are big in my life. So uh, we have these orchids. They're these white, beautiful flowers.
Oh yeah,
And
all right. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading this book of the art of living and dying,
Yeah.
and Osho's talking about like you don't if you can't fully see the beauty in death, how can you experience in the joy of life? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're two of the same, right? Like how can you truly know what day is if you don't know what night is? And so what we're doing on our planet for a lot of us are just focusing on the day of the experience of life and not welcoming or experiencing the night of life. We just don't know what happens past death, guaranteed for sure. But like we have different takes and understandings. But I think that this is what's created this fear is because there's this big unknown. But if we can see the beauty in the unknown, so I often like really appreciate flowers. And so I see these two flowers. I took a picture of it, and there's a living one, but then there's a wilted flower about to die. And I was like, it's so fascinating. Until like a couple weeks ago, I would have been just focused on the living one and not really
Mm.
giving much energy to the one that's about to die. But the one that's about to die is just as beautiful. But I'm so attached to the life that I'm focused on the life part of it and not the death part of it. And what I liked what
Mm.
Osho said was we want to get the some serious true mastery is when you pass away in some peace. And so the way he looks at our life is that our life's like a flower. What we want to do is we want to come here and blossom and then let out a beautiful fragrance. And once we let that beautiful fragrance out, we will slowly come down, and we want to detach from this life like a petal in the wind, just so
Mm.
effortlessly. And he said, you ever see a petal fall off a flower? It's just
Oh,
so
yeah.
gentle and
Mm-hmm.
so effortlessly. He says, so often, so many people resist death that they die in clenching, and they die with their hands clenched, their energy clenched. And
Mm.
he's a big believer on reincarnation as well. And so he says that's not going to help leaving the energy in this planet. You want to leave the energy as if you're a flower. And so I read that, and then I saw the flowers in my bathroom, and I took a picture of it, and I'm like, wow, I have a new appreciation for this dying flower. Yeah, I thought I'd share that with you because it really impacted me.
I
And
thought you just seen my dead flowers standing over there. I keep them, I keep them there, and there is one more bouquet on another side. I know. I also just like it. They're the same beautiful for me as the live one. They just dried out. That's it. You know. So yeah, I totally agree what you said about it, and yeah, it's a interesting journey, if I can say so.
yeah, I mean, it is the biggest peak moment of our existence. For the listeners here, if you've not
Mhm.
contemplated or gone into these spaces, don't feel like you have to. But if you feel like you're wanting to maybe connect with it, I'd welcome you to maybe just go in there just a little bit, one little bit at a time. Obviously, because it is a thing, but it's going to happen to all of us. So
Mhm.
if this is a guarantee, I feel that like it'd be better to, at least in my experience in self, I'd like to invite the listeners listening or yourself, Maria, to yeah, try to go into it a little bit as so that you can enjoy life in a little bit more peace. Because that's what I can say I'm experiencing, but I can only say that for myself um, with going deeper into this subject. And it was something I got to be really present with my family and with my nana passing. And
Mm.
it was a beautiful experience for me, an absolute, and I feel so happy and grateful that I could be this aware and this conscious during my Nana's passing. I think that is just such a gift. She transferred so much wisdom onto me in that experience that I feel so blessed that I got to understand that during that process. So, um, yeah, it's a big topic, and it's something that I think if more of us could talk about, I think it would take the weight out of it. Hence, me even resisting wanting to ask what's in my heart towards you,
Mhm.
because you never know how someone's going to
Yeah.
receive questions either, right? You don't know what it's going to bring up or what their take is. So, thank you for receiving me.
Thank you too, Matt. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. Um, so I'll just ask two final questions, speed questions that I ask my guests. What's
Mhm.
your most gifted book?
Most gifted book, it would Quantum Warrior,
Okay, by
John
John
Cahill.
Coe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And um, if you could have, if you could take, let's say, the busiest street in your country where the most people walk by every day, and you could put on that billboard a quote or maybe two
Mhm.
to three sentences, what would you put on that billboard? What message would you want those people to see?
Simply love yourself first.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It was the message when I was kicked out of the country and I had to travel to another country. It happened to be Cyprus. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
walking on the beach, and I started asking myself many questions about actually my existence. And I started asking, okay, why do I have to face such problems and issues of in my life? Somebody had had wrote on the stones with it was like maybe this size.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote it with a blue pencil, affirmations. They wrote love yourself, or like you look beautiful today, or your smile look beautiful. And it happened to be not like in the order. It just like one stone is over there, one stone is somewhere there, and I met them in a different time. It's not that I saw all of them in the same day. It was that I've seen one on one day, another stone in another day, and it just reminds me that also like people who experience it, they exist somewhere around me, and the universe sending the signs to me that it is high time to accept myself, to love myself, to appreciate myself, that yes, I am beautiful, yes, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and all other things. So definitely it would be love yourself first, because once you love and know yourself first, then you can share this feeling, or you can actually, as you say, I believe you could vibrate those feelings outside to the world, and then and other people, they will just sense it. Right people
Mm-hmm.
will sense it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
It's really beautiful. Well, Maria, I must say I am so happy and grateful that I got to hear your story, and thank you for being so honest and sharing your
Mm.
experiences. One of the things I love about doing this is the brave ones comment, the brave ones type their thoughts, but I really like the ones that don't express on social media, that we
Mm-hmm.
don't know that this impacted,
Mm.
where you may not get to like 2 years, 3 years until maybe you publish your book, and they're like, I
Mm-hmm.
heard you on that podcast expressing that
Yeah.
thing. You do not know what that did to me. And that's part
Mm.
of what I love doing this work, is impacting the ones that you don't even know you're impacting. And Maria, by you sharing your story today, I know that it's going to positively impact for sure at least one person. I definitely think more, but definitely it's
Let's
going
hope so.
to, yeah. So
Mm.
thank you so much. is there, I know currently, are you using much social media? Is there a way that they can connect to you or find you on social media?
Not much, to be honest. One way is Instagram, Telegram, and Facebook. I'm not often into that. Of course, I have it as a normal person. But if anybody feels that they want to reach me, I think the best way it would be Facebook or Telegram.
Okay. And you just want to spell your name for them, please?
Probably I should write it anyway. But
Okay,
that's
I'll put it in the
yeah,
comments then.
no, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put your name in. They'll be able to reach you
Hmm.
that way. Well,
Yeah.
again, thanks again, Maria. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate taking the time. And this was a wonderful, wonderful conversation.